It is SportsCenter. I'm Elle Duncan. He's Randy Scott. Option 1, the two of us just sit here and talk to each other for about 2 hours. Option B, it should be 2. We're going to talk to a couple ACC football coaches and the Blazers' Damian Lillard. Easy decision and one that's already been made. Full steam ahead. They're all on the show.
That's right. We also have injury updates, 2 of the biggest names in baseball, right? Why don't we start? Clayton Kershaw. Now, he missed 2.5 months with a back issue. Live in studio on SportsCenter. We roll on. Did you, first of all, real quick, your thoughts on the drive-by dunk challenge that we've seen on Twitter?
I think it's really all fun and games till someone gets hurt. I'm not going in anyone's yard or anyone's driveway or their property without them knowing me. Not doing it.
All right. Well, here's the thing. What if it's your dad? What if it's not really a drive-by? And what if the only thing to get hurt is pride?
Okay.
Crew Ainge, Danny Ainge. Here's the vertical leap. It's right
it's like 1 inch.
It's right there for Danny Ainge.
It's a half an inch.
Right there.
Listen.
Crew Ainge would tweet, my dad really doesn't care what anybody thinks about him. That's why he's great at what he does, and also why he's trending in a body bag. That's son Crew talking about dad Danny.
This is your future.
This is my view. My son's going to dunk
Your
on
son's
me.
going to dunk on you in a similar manner.
Danny's got me beat on the vertical leap.
He's got 1 inch.
Couldn't jump.
Elle Duncan and Randy Scott back with you here on SportsCenter. You know, Travis Kelce is not the only football player with a TV show, or even his own TV show on the E! Network. Eric Decker checks both those marks as well. But as the face of a franchise whose signal caller is deemed more game manager than hot ticket item, his image and marketability really do keep the small market Chiefs in the pop culture sphere. And as Josina Anderson learned from a weekend in Vegas, with him, his exploits command attention, which kind of sounds like another famous tight end. Just don't remind him of that. We are sending to your native Miami to cover El Clasico for us all week long here on SportsCenter. We look forward to your reports, and maybe we look forward to you getting out of the rain. It's a monsoon from what I'm hearing in New Jersey, so thanks for braving the elements to bring us that report. Antonietta Collins reporting. Mi hermano, Pedro Gomez. Nice to see you. ¿Qué pasa? What's up? Let's talk about what was really the biggest news yesterday in baseball. A couple of injuries, in particular for Clayton Kershaw, who landed himself on the DL this morning with some lower back issues. This is kind of emoting what happened last year, right? Like Dodgers fans panicked. He spent 10 weeks because of that herniated disc. How does this injury affect what they're going to do as we're just a week away from the trade deadline?
You know, even before this injury, I had heard inside baseball that they were looking for a starting pitcher in October for the first time in his career. But he is without a doubt the heart and soul of that Dodgers club, and he can. You know, that's somebody they can't really miss. Yeah, he's been huge for them this year, as he tends to be every single year. And at the very least, it is serious enough that he's on the DL. We don't know the severity of Strasburg's injury, who also left yesterday with some arm tightness. They said they're going to evaluate him by the team doctor tomorrow in D.C. How concerned are the Nationals, though, especially when it comes to Strasburg, about whether this could be a nagging issue? I mean, obviously you're concerned because he's one of your since opening day, so he's definitely been healthy this year, but whenever he tweaks something, it does tend to linger a little bit. That's been his history. Always. Durability is always the asterisk to what's been a fantastic career for Strasburg, not to be outdone, and also to mention that in that game for the Nationals, reliever Andy Romero also exiting with some back spasms. They don't believe those to be serious injuries, the never-ending subplot to the Nationals, but nothing says don't panic like a 12-game division lead. As I mentioned, the trade deadline just over a week from now. I want you to run through some starting pitchers in particular that have been getting quite a lot of news and headlines, and tell me where you think they'll go. Well, you know, very good starts the last couple of times out, so his value is absolutely skyrocketing, and Billy Beane loves to collect prospects, the general manager in Oakland. We certainly have, we have found that out over the last few years. This is somebody that could absolutely bring in a nice haul because he is still young and pitching so well. It's all about when you get hot. As you said, Gray's got a sub-2 ERA in his last 5 starts, so should get a nice return for the A's should they decide to move him out. Pedro Gomez with the latest. Thank you. Elle Duncan. I like when you say it that way.
All right, coming up tonight after Monday Night Baseball, a bowl win. That's how you cap off a 9-win season. Great to have the architect of that campaign, Georgia Tech head football coach Paul Johnson, with us here on SportsCenter. I want to ask you about something that one of your players said, Keyshawn Freeman. We have to get rid of this cycle of ups and downs, because what you'll do, in his eyes, win 9-10 games, follow it up, high expectations, tough schedule, and it doesn't materialize. How do you do that? How do you break that cycle?
Well, I think the first thing you have to do is understand that it's there.
To get your comments, the obligatory reaction to Jimbo Fisher, his comments last week or the week before saying that the ACC was the best conference in football at this point and no longer the SEC. What do you make of what he thought? Added pressure?
Well, I would tend to agree with
last year, and then you say something after the bowl game, basically, okay, maybe now we don't have to hear about the SEC, at least for a couple of weeks, sort of tongue-in-cheek. What is it about that conference that draws that kind of reaction from you?
Well, I think for us, and certainly the SEC is a good football league. Nobody would dispute that. But I think
a Tech fan, and I would know this being from Atlanta. I'm pretty sure all they really care about is that one particular win that you had against the Bulldogs. What is it like that win or lose? How does that particular game and rivalry impact your program?
Well, there's no question it's a big game for all the fans. It's kind of come back in the last few years. We've had some really close games, and it's one that everybody looks forward to.
Ask you that again, being from Atlanta, I have to defend vociferously the fact that Atlanta isn't a passionate sports fan. But let's just say that citywide, they're not as passionate as others. UGA would reign supreme, I think you could agree, right, in terms of interest. And then you've got the Falcons, and then we'll let the Braves and Hawks kind of fight it out for 3 and 4. What will it take for your program to kind of wrestle some of the attention from Atlanta fans?
Right. You know, we're under no illusions. We're never going to have 80 or 90,000 fans. It's just not set up that way. But you get in Bobby Dodd Stadium on a Saturday night, and there's not very many places that are more dynamic and louder than it can be in there.
Nothing like seeing that Ramblin' Wreck come out.
I can testify. I can testify to that. I'll tell you what, stick to the football coaching. The camera skills are awful. Just because it seemed like you wanted to shoot everything but.
He's such a diva.
Well,
you were out of focus a little bit on his face, and he got really upset.
I had the choice, you or her. It was a pretty easy choice.
Best of luck, best of health to you and your program as well this season. Paul Johnson, I guess a show favorite. Back with you on SportsCenter, Randy Scott and Elle Duncan. You know, few American lives have been lived more publicly than Michael Gerard Tyson's. From the height of the boxing world to imprisonment for rape. His story and confessions have been documented countless times over his career, but he still continues to fascinate.
Tyson's now 51, and his story's still unfolding. In an E60 conversation with Jeremy Schaap, they discuss at length how a poor, troubled child from Brownsville, Brooklyn, found purpose in his life as a fighter under the guidance of Cus D'Amato, and how it all fell apart in the ring and beyond, and where Tyson is right now. We did a bit of a postscript last week with Jeremy Schaap about this interview, and he's known Mike Tyson for over 25 years, as he said in the piece. And he said, this guy just considers himself a tennis stat now, like, which is crazy to me. He just likes to be around his kids, go to their games, and not be Mike Tyson.
Act 3 of the Mike Tyson story. More SportsCenter after that. On ESPN, also streaming live. Big thanks to Elle Duncan. Big thanks to Damian Lillard for contributing to the program. SportsCenter continues over on
Very loquacious.
ESPN.